Hi guys.
Hi everybody.
We're here. It's I think a little bit after 7. But anyway, hope you guys had a great day and having a great week. We kind of left off last time talking about the first years of our marriage and just how we were just working and making money and selling real estate and nothing really else. We were very selfish, self-absorbed. We had purchased a home back in the foothills, which was our first home on Ashurst, right under Eagle Ridge.
Yeah, that's the Ahwatukee area for those of you who don't know the Southeast Valley, because you're from the north side or whatever.
Yeah, so we purchased a home back there, and that's when kind of Jay started working with Wall & Sons.
Builder,
yeah. Builder. So that's kind of where we started back in the foothills. And then we ended up, because we knew Gary Bradley and the Bradleys, and they had developed this subdivision called the Vistas. So after we sold our home there, we moved over to the Ocotillo area, and we actually rented a home because we had bought a lot in Ocotillo, and Jay was working with Oliver Homes at that time.
Right.
And then we started building our home. But basically, just selling real estate. We were working with builders.
Right.
And didn't want kids. In 99, we went on a huge Europe trip.
Yeah.
I remember that. That was fun. My whole family lives in Germany.
Got to meet most of her family because most of them had never visited here. So that was a nice trip.
Yeah, we had a fun time. And then when we came back, we literally moved into our house in the Vistas, which was my live video earlier today. You got to see that house. And that was the first house that we actually built custom together. And
Right.
Jay pretty much did everything on that house.
Yeah. Oliver, now it was Oliver Homes, and they were the builder, and they were helping a lot. And his younger brother was helping us too. So they did a great job. And the house turned out very, very nice.
Yeah. So we lived there, and then all of a sudden, I didn't really want kids.
In the beginning, when we first
and
met.
we really didn't have God in our lives. I mean, he did. I would always ask him questions about God. I mean, I always would pray, and I knew there was a God, but I really didn't know Jesus, and I really didn't know a lot. So, he would always pray that, God, if you want me, you got to get her.
Yeah, we'd go out a lot, and sometimes at parties I was at, and I know I talked about this before, but it was pretty frequent. We'd be out having a good time, and I'd be in the middle of, drinking and not being wise and all that kind of stuff, and all of a sudden God would check in with me, and I would just grow very silent with my friends and not really talking, because I knew God was there, and I knew I wasn't doing what God wanted me to do. I wasn't doing the things God wished I was doing. And so when he checked in, it pretty well made me solemn, because I knew I wasn't on the path that he had called me to. And never talked to Kimberly about it. It was never, up for discussion. She would come up to me and ask me what was wrong. And I'd say, no, just a little mellow tonight. And, not being honest, about any of it as far as that goes. And then, so that was going on all the time, the 10, 12 years that we were together prior to us going to this trip to Germany. And was it on the trip to Germany that we decided we were ready to go ahead and start, or was it just before that we started?
Well, and then Jay would always pray, God, if you want me,
Yes,
you got to
true.
get her back.
Because I don't want to deal with it again, because when I got divorced before, it was because I was on a path that I thought was God wanted me to follow, and the person I was with at the time wasn't up for it, who I was married to. And that's, as I discussed before, we ended up getting divorced later, and how I ended up, being with Kimberly.
Yeah, so Jay almost became a pastor before, and then his ex-wife kind of turned the other way, and Jay didn't want that to happen with me. And he had already made the decision when we met that he was going to, just walk away.
I walked away from God.
So he basically walked away. But, God had an amazing plan. So it was kind of crazy. So we we moved into our house in the Vistas around 2000, end of 99, after our Europe trip. I think right when we got back, we started moving in. And when we were there, I had said to him that, let's start trying to have kids. So literally, it was a Christmas party and Christmas party for Rachel. And so we found out we were pregnant.
It did take a year, though. So
yeah,
we
it took
did
us
get
a
a little
year.
worried.
And we were almost going to do the fertility. And oh my gosh, that was a mess.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we ended up getting pregnant right about the end of 2000. So
yes.
And then when we had Rachel, September 2001, and we were in the house in the Vistas.
Yes.
And I was just in awe.
And when she was born.
Yeah.
And understand
I
this
was
this was September of 2001, and the story goes like this with Rachel. We had a schedule to have a cesarean on September 11th, 2001.
Yeah.
And
so she was supposed to be born on 9/11, the actual 9/11.
Right.
And so what happened was I went and had a ultrasound because she wasn't dropping. And they said, wow, she's really big. You're not going to have this baby naturally. So they had scheduled me for a cesarean.
An emergency cesarean, because they said she appeared to be anywhere between 9 and 10 pounds at that point.
Right.
And babies grow a couple ounces a day at that level of pregnancy, which all you ladies know. I don't know how many of you men know that, but I didn't know that. So,
well, anyway, so we scheduled her on September 1st. So I had Rachel September 1st, 2001. She's still my 911 baby, I call her.
Right.
9101. And then all that happened on September 11th. I had just come home from the hospital and all that craziness happened. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But before 9/11, while I was at home with my baby, after I had my baby, I would just sit there because she was my first. And I was in awe, and I would be crying for no reason at all. I'm just like, what is this? And I knew right then there was a God. I just knew.
So she came to me, and...
Well, this was a while down the road.
Yeah.
It was about a year later. Maybe not a year later, but about 6 months later.
Yeah, so it was
So then 9/11 hit. Yeah, that was crazy. So I was like, wow, I just had a baby in this crazy world. So we were just, that's the year that Jay became a builder too, when we had Rachel in May of 2001.
Which made us nervous about business. But so after she had all this God stuff about Rachel, she came to me and said, Jay, I want to raise our kids with God. And I went, what? And she goes, yeah. She goes, I want to raise our kids with God. And I go, well, why? And she goes, because I want them to have what you have. And I went, why? What do I have? And she goes, you have God. And to me, I'm going, wait a minute. I walked away from God. And in the video, I talked about that. Like, I was party boy. I was having a good time and stuff. This was the last thing I ever thought I'd be hearing from her. And I'm just going, wow. So I just looked up and said, okay, God, you got me. Because that was my prayer. If you want me back, you're going to have to get her.
Yeah.
And so that pretty well
that was the start.
Blew me away. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the start of a long
road to God, actually.
I mean, literally, I hadn't surrendered to God yet or Jesus. I didn't get baptized till 2008.
Right.
But anyway, so that's kind of how that all began. And then we had Braxton in 2003, September 15th. He was a New Year's party.
Right. I know. Like we relate too many things to our partying guys, and we don't want that to be an influence that's a great idea. It's not. And now that we've matured in our with God and the things that we do, we have a completely different perspective on all this. So
right. So needless to say, when we had kids, life changes. Life changes a lot.
Yes.
And so what we'll probably dive into next week is kind of where I went, being a mom at home, a stay-at-home mom. Right. Like Jay was working, he was the one out there making the money. I was still selling real estate, but I did more of the back end stuff and not really out there. And he was the rock star, building houses out. And in a lot of ways, I sunk into a lot of depression. And
I don't even have a clue. And we're going to get into that next time about where she was at versus where I was at. How I'm thinking, hey, everything's great. She's not even there. And there's all kinds of things going on. And I was just totally clueless. I wasn't checking in with God enough. And so we've learned a lot through those processes over the years, which we hope to be able to share with you all regarding where you may be at in your own life about how God does check in. Even though you're just getting started or you've been in relationship with God for a long time, sometimes there's things you have to look for that maybe we just don't look at. And we've seen some things now that we hope we can share with you that'll bring you closer to God, not only to you closer to God, but you together in your relationship, your marriage, and that type of thing, being closer to God. So yeah, and then the other thing I wanted to say is that we are on the team for Family Life and the Weekend to Remember. We're on the local team. And right now, till the end of January, they have their next Weekend to Remember coming the end of June. So it's like June 28th, 29th, 30th, I think.
It's at the Westin Kierland. It does not include your room, but for the whole, you get buy one, get one free. For the whole seminar, it's Friday night, Saturday all day, and then half a day Sunday. It's $175. And I'm telling you, it is worth it. We've been to 3. We're now on the local team. It changes your marriage.
It changed our marriage quite a bit. It showed us things that we'd never seen before. And this isn't a plug for Family Life Radio.
But we so believe in this because of the marriages.
Yeah.
It helps so many. It's just
amazing. And what we got out of it. So what we got out of it.
And what we witnessed from it. So definitely go on there. I've posted it on the Relentless Love page, but our code is OCC Renew, and a lot of you go to church with us. It's Oasis Community Church, but OCC Renew. And then you can just sign up under that, but it is till the end of January.
And you don't have to go to OCC to use that, please. If you want to go, just use it. Go get the discount. We'd love to see you there. And we want to sign off now because we're getting a little bit long here, but we want to see you next week. You have a great week this week. God bless you. Oh, quick update. Brian is doing good. Brandon, he was able to start using his foot a little bit. Stuff. Keep praying for him. The doctors are saying that he may not get full use of it, but I know, and you know, that God can make the difference in this, that he can have full use of his foot and his ability to march because he's in the marching band. He wants to do that more than anything.
Right.
So pray for him that
foot.
full healing happens. The doctors are never right about this stuff because God's got this.
Right. And
Thank
he's
you
still
so
in
much.
the hospital. But love you guys. Take care.
Bye now.